circles up top are considered daily dials. They will show you the percentage of patients which are new patients, the percentage of patients which have been seen, the total dollar amount that has been collected, and the total number of claims that has been created for today's date of service. This information is pulled based off of your schedule. Below that, to the left-hand side, you have a rejected claims graph, which will show you any claims that have been rejected throughout the whole database. This rejection may consist of a rejection through the internal edits, a rejection from the clearinghouse, or a rejection from the payer itself. By clicking on the jump box on the right upper corner of that rejected graph, you will be able to open that graph in a full view, which then you are able to click on the white sheet of paper with the magnifying glass icon to view the associated graph data. This will then show you the actual claims that fall into that graph. You could work on these claims directly from here if needed by simply double-clicking on the claim that you wish to work on. To return to your billing dashboard, simply click on your home icon on the left upper corner, and this will bring you back to your billing dashboard. To the right of that rejected claims, you have your unsubmitted claims. The unsubmitted claims are any claims that have not been processed. This will include any electronic or paper claims, and also any statements that have not been processed. Just like the rejected claims graph, you are able to click on the jump box on the right upper corner to view the associated graph data, and then you could click on the View Associated Graph Data icon, which will actually display all the claims that fall into that graph. Once again, clicking the home icon will bring you back to the billing dashboard. To the left lower corner, you have your missing data claims graph. On here, you will see any claims that is missing either a responsible party or a primary insurance. Same as the other two graphs, you can click on the jump box and click to view the associated graph data to view the claims that are missing data. To the right of that, you have your top 10 procedures year to date. Going back a year from today, what are your top 10 billed procedures? Moving on to the billing toolbar up top, you have your home icon, which once again will bring you back to the billing dashboard. The two blue arrows will refresh the window that you're currently on within the billing portal. The index card will give you a set of patient options depending on the patient you have selected. The magnifying glass will allow you to update, add, or make changes to a patient, a payer, a code/fee, a location, or a provider. In the case you are looking to update a patient, you can simply click the drop-down, select the patient option, type in the patient's last or first name. The order does not matter. Double-click on the patient you wish to update. This will now bring up the patient setup window for you, which you now can modify as needed. Make sure to save your changes at the end of modifying your patient, and go ahead and close out of the window. Clicking on the magnifying glass drop-down again on your billing toolbar, now going to the payer option, allows you to create a new payer on the left lower hand here, or you can update an existing payer, and you simply either type in the payer's name or click the search button to see all payers within your database. If you receive a pop-up that says search results have exceeded the number of maximum rows, it means your payers are larger than the default 25 max rolls. Click OK on this pop-up, increase your max rolls numbers, and click Search again. Again, if you receive the same pop-up, make sure you put a larger number and click Search again. Once you have found the payer you wish to update, go ahead and double-click on that payer. Select the tab that you would wish to update. Go ahead and make your changes. And be sure to press Save. By clicking on the magnifying glass drop-down once again, under Billing Toolbar, you can go to your code/fee, and you can choose to update an existing code by searching for that procedure code. You just simply double-click on it and modify the fee or any other information needed on that code. If you wish to create a new code, you could click the white sheet of paper icon. You will be prompted whether you would like to add a procedure code or a diagnosis code. Select which one you're adding and fill in the required information, which are marked with the red asterisks. Moving on to the next option on the magnifying glass drop-down, you have location. If you wish to update your location, you can simply click on location, search the location by name or facility type. Select the location you wish to update and make any changes as needed. Once you're done, go ahead and click the OK button. By clicking the magnifying glass drop-down again, you also have your provider option, which allows you to update a rendering provider or add a referring provider if needed. So if you would like to update a rendering provider, you can either type in their name, or you could put rendering provider to yes and press search. Once you found the provider you wish to update, go ahead and double-click on it, and you will then be able to modify any information as needed. Moving on to the next icon on your billing toolbar is this multiple red windows icon. This icon is called the Other Reporting Options, and will be further discussed each reporting option through the actual billing report training. Moving on, the next icon you have on the toolbar is your history icon. Depending on the window that you are within the billing portal, you will have a history option. And by clicking on that icon, you will be able to view the history of that specific window. To the right of that, you have your hammer with a wrench icon. And it allows you to set your working date, update ICD codes, and set up a sliding fee schedule if applicable. To the right of that, you have what we call the hyperlink icon, which gives you a quick way to access the clearinghouse payers list, ICD-9 lookup, the NPI lookup, and USPS. To the right of that, you have your question mark icon, which gives you a help guide with a quick overview of your billing portal. Moving on the same billing toolbar all the way to the right, you have your pending items. These pending items are only displayed when you're in the billing dashboard. And those pending items are the submissions, ERAs, deposits, and receipts. The submissions will show you a batch of claims that has not been processed. Now this batch can consist of electronic claims, HCFAs, and statements. And it also can consist of one or multiple claims. To the right of that, you have your ERAs, which is any electronic EOBs that have been received but that have not been posted. This is a good way for you to know if you have any new payments that have been received from an insurance company that has not been posted. To the right of that, your deposits option is any manual entry of an EOB that has not been posted. To the right of that, you have your receipts, which is any batch of receipts that have not been dispersed. Moving on to your navigation pane in the middle section, you have different areas within the billing portal you can access. Today we'll be going over the billing query advanced option along with the claim submission to create and process claims. By clicking on the billing query, you will be able to search for any existing claims within your database and also create any existing claims, along with allowing you to batch claims as well. The first column of the billing query is the search criteria column. The search criteria column allows you different options to search for a claim. Those options are broken down into a patient section, a guarantor section, a payer/insurance section, claim, procedure, submission, provider, and location. By entering any of this criteria, you can then search for claims. To the right-hand side column, you will be displayed your search results within this blank area. Up top, we have your billing query toolbar, which consists of another set of icons. The first icon is the magnifying glass, and that allows you to perform the search based on the criteria you have entered on the search criteria column. The second icon is the eraser and allows you to erase the criteria that you have entered along with clearing out your search results. The next icon is the open folder icon, and by clicking the drop-down, you will be able to open the highlighted claim, open the highlighted claim in a full claim view, or export the search results to an Excel sheet. The icon to the right of that is a white sheet of paper with a green plus sign. And by clicking the drop-down, you will be able to document, create a new claim, or create a new patient. To the right of that, you have your index card, which by clicking the drop-down allows you to open the patient setup for the patient you currently have highlighted. You could view that patient's history. You could run eligibility on that patient. You could add a comment or an alert to that patient. Attach that patient to a reminder. Or you could print letters to the selected patients. To the right of that, you have your single red window icon, and this gives you claim options based on the claim you have selected. You could look at the claim history. You could copy the selected claim. You could scrub the claim. You could add a comment to that claim. You can attach that claim to a reminder. You can modify the selected claims, or you can validate the selected claims. To the right of that, you have your single red window, your green arrow icon, which allows you to submit claims. And this is the process of preparing a batch of claims, submit statements, and view submission, which will show you the last time this claim had been processed. To the right of that, you have your dollar symbol, and that allows you to document a payment to that claim or a receipt for that patient. To the right of that, you have your hammer with your wrench icon, and that allows you to set how your search results will be displayed. You could choose to display the recent year, display balance, display zero balance claims, display the aging, display the procedure, display the rejection reason, do an exact match search, minimize the search results, search based on patient view versus claim view, and set new claim view as your default claim window. To the right of that, you have your match rows icon, which is defaulted to 99. You are able to change this if your search results exceed the 99 number. We will now go ahead and create a claim out of the billing portal. This only applies if the claims are not being created from the EMR or the schedule. By clicking the drop-down on the white sheet of paper with the green plus sign, you could select claim if the patient already exists within your database. Otherwise, you would want to select the patient option to add that patient to the database. In this case, we will be doing it just the claim because my patient does already exist in the database. Once you select claim, you will be prompted for the patient's name. You could then type in first name or last name. Does not matter the order or date of birth for that patient. Once you have found the patient you wish to add the claim for, go ahead and double-click on that patient. This will bring up a new claim window for that specific patient. On the claim window, to the left upper corner, you have your claim status section, which consists of your claim number. The yellow post-it allows you to document a claim comment. The two white sheets of paper allows you to copy the claim. The date will show you the date this claim was entered. The status allows you to set a different status to the claim. By default, the status will be set according to the primary insurance on the claim. The sub-status is a way for the biller to document, do additional documentation, and allow the biller to do an additional search for that claim. You also have your billing, level, type, and owner, which are defaulted based on the status of the claim and your user. To the right-hand side, we have your patient information, which will show you the chart number for the patient. The yellow post-it allows you to document a patient comment or an alert. It gives you your patient's name. To the right of that, you have the square with the three dots, which allows you to go into the patient setup if any modifications need to be completed. You also have the patient's date of birth. Below that, you have your responsible party. To the right of it, you have the square with the three dots, which allows you to go into the responsible party setup. Below that, you have insurance number 1, which allows you to select the primary insurance that you would like to be on the claim. To the right of that, you have the square with the three dots, which allows you to update the insurance for this patient if needed. To the right of that, the green check mark allows you to document an authorization for this claim. The insurance number 2 line along with the insurance number 3 have the same concepts. To the right of it, you have your service information, which includes your service location, your rendering provider, along with your referring provider. To the right of each one of those, you also have a square with the three dots, which will allow you to go into the setup of each one of those sections. To the right of the referring provider square, you have your jump box. The jump box actually allows you to document additional providers, such as supervising, ordering, purchase, attending, or alternate. Below that, you have your procedure section, which allows you to document the date of service the claim is for. You have your to date, which if you're doing hospital billing and your to date happens to be a different date, you could go ahead and enter that date range in. On your procedure, you would simply enter your procedure code. Your place of service, type of service, units, and charge are normally defaulted based on your code setup and fee schedule. Therefore, there is no need for any documentation to go in these 4 fields. Modifiers are to be answered if necessary, and your diagnosis codes. At the bottom of the claim screen, you have several tabs that allows you to document additional information onto your claim. The first tab you have is the Dates tab. The Dates tab allows you to document any additional dates that must be included with your claim. The second tab you have is the Details. This allows you to document the assignment of your claim along with resubmission codes if necessary. The third tab is a Document, and this allows you to do a narrative documentation to any claim. The most commonly used reason for the narrative documentation is to state that this is a corrected claim if a corrected claim needs to be submitted. The fourth tab is for Home Health. The fifth tab allows you to document any additional information for ambulatory patients. The sixth tab allows you to document any additional information for ambulance billing. The seventh tab allows you to document any additional information for vision testing. Tab 8 will show you the diagnosis listed on your claim. Keep in mind the description will only be displayed once you have saved the claim, which in this case we have not. And the final tab is the Validation tab, which is the internal edits that our system does on your claim. To the left-hand side, you have a patient and claim validation, which will show if your patient or your claim is missing any crucial information to be processed. Then you have in the middle, you have your required fields and code limitations. So if you had made it mandatory that Louisiana Medicaid required authorization, and in this case there was not one listed, the required field will show you that. If you stated that this code must be billed only to female or male patients, the code limitation box will then display you that information. To the right of that, you have your 837 professional validation, which is the final validation our system will do on your claim. And by clicking the blue check mark on the right upper corner, allows you to run that validation. Otherwise, this validation will be ran once you batch your claim. Below that, you have your billing level status, which will show you what will occur next with this claim. To the left-hand side at the bottom, you have several buttons that will assist you with your claim, the first one being the menu. The menu allows you to do different options within the claim, some which you have already seen throughout the claim with icons and the square with the 3 dots. Others such as audit trails, hotkeys, refresh claims will only be displayed on this dropdown. You can also have a new claim button here, which allows you to create a new claim for this patient. The view submission will show you any time this claim has been submitted, the date, and what type of submission it was done. The view submission will also show you any rejected reason. So if your claim happened to be rejected and it passed all validations, the view submission will show you what other reason the claim could have been rejected for. The payments allows you to document a payment on the claim, and this is mostly used for patient payments. The history will show you the transaction history of this claim. To the right of that, you have your OK, cancel, and apply. The OK allows you to save the claim and close it out. The cancel will cancel any unsaved changes. And the apply allows you to save that claim and leave it open. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and apply it. So it saves my claim and leaves it open so you guys can see the validations occur. Notice my claim has passed the patient validation along with the claim validation as well. If anything had failed, this will indicate what failed on that claim. I can also choose to run my 837 validation, which will show me if anything else is incorrect with this claim. Okay, you have now completed a claim. If you need to create another claim, you would simply hit OK to save and close out of this claim, and you will repeat the same steps going to your white sheet of paper icon, clicking the drop-down, clicking the claim option, and enter the information again onto your claim. Once you are ready to batch your claims, you would use your search criteria to find those claims that you wish to batch. The most commonly used search criteria to find claims and batch them is the claim status, and that can be found under the claim section under the status dropdown. When processing a claim for the first time to the primary insurance, the three statuses that you will always use is the ready to send primary electronic, ready to send primary paper, and the closed electronic superbill, which is the last status on your dropdown. In this case, this is a test environment. I will also additionally be adding my service date. That way, I narrow my list of claims down to only the claims I actually want to process. Once you've entered your search criteria, click on your magnifying glass on the second toolbar. This will then display all the claims that fall into the criteria you have entered. Notice that some of these claims are unchecked and some are checked. The check means this claim is ready to be processed. Claims that are unchecked means that they're missing some type of crucial information to be processed. You can view so by looking at your right-hand side. Normally it will tell you if it's missing a guarantor or a primary insurance, which in this case both of these claims are. If you chose to correct this claim at this point, you could simply double-click on it. Now it will open up your claim window, and you could now make the necessary changes. Notice on my left-hand side, my patient and claim validation have failed. Within my patient validation, it informs me that my patient signature on file, along with the signature on file date, the patient's address, patient's insurance, the city, state, zip, responsible party address, city, state, zip, and the insurance is missing as well. And I was able to view that using my scroll up and down arrow. You can also look at your claim validations to see what has failed on this claim. Okay. Once you corrected this, your validation should pass the edits. In this case, I'm going to quickly correct this claim. Okay. And notice how my claim validation has now narrowed down to only missing the primary insurance by simply making the changes and applying the claim. Again, if you needed to update your patient, use your square with the 3 dots next to each field that you would wish to update. In this case, I'm going to go to my demographics. And now you can make the changes as necessary. Okay. Notice that once I hit save, I got this pop-up informing me that I have a duplicate primary ID. And it shows me all other patients that have the same primary ID listed. The primary ID normally is the Social Security, and this is why it's letting me know that it is a duplicate. Okay. In this case, if this was correct, I would simply ignore that. If it was incorrect, then you would want to correct that at this point. I'm going to go ahead and put in my signature on file date. Go ahead and save my changes. And the next item that I noticed was missing on my claim was my primary insurance. So I will be moving on to the insurance tab, documenting my primary insurance information. And once you save, it will be listed up top. Go ahead and close out of your patient setup once you're done. Return to your claim. Make sure you include the primary insurance if that was indeed what was incorrect on your claim, and apply it so it saves the claims changes. You'll be prompted that you are changing the primary insurance, and you could go ahead and hit OK on that, and that will save that change for you. Once you're done, go ahead and press OK. If you want to have this window updated to reflect the changes you just made, click your magnifying glass to reperform the search. This will now update this window for you with the new search results. And notice how my first claim is now checked. Once you're ready to batch your claims, and you have all the selected claims you wish to process selected, go ahead and click on your green arrow icon drop-down on the Billing Query toolbar. Select Submit Claims. A prepared batch window will now be displayed, which will show you what is being included on your batch. In this case, it is letting me know that I have 3 primary 837 professional claims, which should be electronic claims. I have none institutional and no paper claims at all being created. At the bottom of the screen, it will show you a total amount of claims that were selected. And if any claims were not included, but for whatever the reason may be, it will inform you, as it did in this case, which is letting me know that 1 claim was selected, which is currently in statement mode. If you're okay with everything that's being prepared on your batch, go ahead and click OK. If you choose to make any additional changes, go ahead and cancel at this point and go back and make the changes as needed. In this case, we're going to go ahead and click the OK button. and you will be given a pop-up letting you know that your claim batch has been created, and you can view the batch by going to the claim submission window. You do not have to print this, for it is saved within the system under claim submission. Go ahead and click OK on this window as well. And notice your search criteria will now clear out with the expectancy of you going to process your batch under the claim submission. On the left-hand side on your navigation pane, under your insurance section, go ahead and click on Claim Submission. Within the claim submission, you'll be able to view any batch that has not been processed. In this case, we're going to go ahead and scroll down to the batch we just created. And within here, you would be able to see your batch number, along with the prepare date, the type of batch it's for, the billing type, whether it's electronic or paper, who created it, the total number of claims, the billing MD failed, and billing MD passed. The billing MD is that final 837 edit that our system does. So notice that edit was ran once my batch was created. To view the claims within the batch and to correct them, you would simply double-click on the batch. This will now display all claims within your batch. By default, any claims that have failed will be put up top and will have the past checkbox unchecked. To correct that claim, you would double-click on it, and that's going to open up your claim window, and now you can correct that claim. In this case, looking at my patient validation, it states my primary insurance type is missing. You could then go to the patient's insurance one, go ahead and click on the square with the three dots to open that insurance setup. And now you could go ahead and correct that information, which in this case, it was my insurance type. I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. Save my changes. Then close out. And notice I now have passed my validation. You could then click OK on the claim to save and close. And now you would reprocess your batch so the system can revalidate your claims. In the case that you chose not to correct this claim at this point and you just wanted to get the past claims out the door, you could simply check the Remove checkbox on the claim that you wish to not include. And once you reprocess your batch, that claim will now be excluded. To reprocess your batch, you're going to click on the Process button on the right lower corner. Within the Process button, you have three options. The first one is the Process Submission, which would actually submit the batch of claims. You have the Reprocess Submission option, which will revalidate all your claims internally in the system. And you have your Remove Submission, which will remove the whole batch of claims, putting the claims back to their original status. In this case, we will be reprocessing it so the system can revalidate our claims. Go ahead and click OK on this pop-up. You'll then be prompted that the claim batch is now being processed. Go ahead and click OK on that one as well. And now you're brought back up to the window, your claim submission window, which has your batch. Make sure all your claims have passed at this point. And if so, you are now ready to process your batch. At any point, if you come back to this window and the billing MD failed and the billing MD passed, shows NA, simply refresh by using the two blue arrows on your billing toolbar until this number has been displayed. So for example, if I choose to do this larger batch, I'm just going to go ahead and reprocess so you can see how the NA is displayed. Notice now my billing MD failed and passed. It's displayed as NA, which means the system is still verifying all the claims within this batch. Once again, you would want to refresh by hitting the two blue arrows on the billing toolbar until you actually are given a number. Once again, if your batch has passed and you are now ready to process your batch, go ahead and double-click on it and click your process on the right lower corner. Make sure your process submission is selected, and you can now click OK, and that will be submitted to the clearinghouse to be processed to the insurance companies. Once you have processed it, you're going to get the prompt again letting you know the batch is now being processed. Go ahead and click OK on that. And in this case, because this is a test scenario, it's asking me to export the batch, which I will not be doing at this point. If you happen to be processing a batch of paper claims, you would be doing the exact same steps. So make sure all your claims have passed. Double-click on your batch. Click Process. But note now that under the process submission, there is a checkbox for print HCFA forms. You can go ahead and hit OK on this. Again, you'll be prompted that your batch is now being processed. Go ahead and click OK on that as well. And now the third window will open up showing you a HCFA for all the claims that you have done. All your patients and their claims will be displayed on the left-hand side here on the left column. And on the right-hand side will be the image of the actual HCFA. You can now choose to print this, which at that point you would be prompted to select the printer you're printing to, and also the drawer if there is a specific drawer that needs to be selected for you to print your HCFAs. I'll now be closing out of here. And once again, your batch will be removed from here because it has now been processed. If you wish to view the batches that have been processed within a certain date range, you could go to the history of the claim submission, and you can access the history of the claim submission by clicking on the clock with the counter clock green arrow on your billing toolbar while in the claim submission window. At which point you will then enter in a search criteria that you wish to search for. Normally would be a date range. Once you've done so, go ahead and click your binoculars on the second toolbar. And this will now show you any batches that have been processed within that date range. Notice our batch for 3 claims is being displayed here. Once again, you have all the information you saw on your initial claim submission when you were processing the batch, but now you also have an EDI failed and EDI passed. The EDI failed and EDI passed is a response from the clearinghouse letting you know whether the claims have failed or passed. By default, if any of the claims failed, it will fall into your rejected claims graph on your billing dashboard. This concludes the processing of the batch of